Welcome, everybody. This is John Paul Mendoza, Dr. Speech Telling. This is the Raging Verbalist number 109, hard to believe. This is the Christmas special. And of course, this is on December 24th, 2021. And we get to use the Christmas background, or at least I do. And as you can tell, it is, we bring it out, dust it off, and take it out of storage, and we get to use it one more time. With me, as always, is the lovely Sandra. She is there to stand in for all of you and ask the tough questions, the silly questions, the questions, and we'll go through all kinds of things on this Christmas special. All right, Sandra, welcome.
Hello, Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas. And in fact, that's the first thing we'll say is that, we actually say Merry Christmas here. So if you're offended, if you want to say Happy Holidays, if you want to say I don't celebrate this, okay.
Take a hike.
What can you say? People get all excited about all kinds of stuff. I had a guy who, I said Merry Christmas, and he said, I don't celebrate Christmas. And I said, then put that candy back. And he looked at me, well, and it looked like, and I can say from my perspective, hey, as big as I am, he didn't need any more candy, and it was Christmas candy. And he looked at me and he said, what are you talking about? I said, well, if you don't celebrate Christmas, why are you buying Christmas candy? Come on, get out of here. People at the store always see me coming. They go, uh-oh, we don't know what he's going to do. All right. So if you have not gone to the Facebook group, Position to Win Book, that's a Facebook group. If you haven't gone to, of course, the positiontowinbook.com, positiontowinbook.com, and checked out all of the merch, checked out all the stuff. Now it is too late to buy the book physically from the website and get it delivered autographed. But if you send in and say, I want this thing autographed, I will put my words on there. I will say things and we'll ship it out to you. Probably be after Christmas, but you know what? It's going to be a good deal anyway. So anyway, let's get on with the show. Sandra, what do we have?
All right. So how do you think people should celebrate Christmas this year?
Well, considering that we are in our second year of pandemic land, hopefully we don't get canceled by saying the P word or the V word or the Z word. And if you're saying, what's the Z word? Figure it out. I don't know. The Zyrus is that, we're 2 years into this thing and it's kind of kooky crazy. I can tell you that more people are out than ever before, but I think what we should celebrate is the fact that we have made it through a couple of these. I think that you should connect with people and really understand what the celebration's all about. Again, if you are religious, I got that part. But if you're not, it's a good time of year to kind of like kick back and enjoy some things. And, right now, because of the whole COVID thing, people are going a little crazy. In fact, I was just talking to a business partner of mine, and in his house, one of those people who was flying in tested positive for COVID. So the entire house is in an uproar. So my suggestion was that he, quarantine them and, I don't know, use some of that plastic wrap from Dexter or something. And, but he thought that would maybe a little bit too over the top. So I think what you should do is spend some time with family, but more importantly, really enjoy the fact that you're here for another year and make sure that you have a happy one. So Sandra, how are you going to spend your Christmas? What are your pearls of wisdom, your words of wise stuff?
I personally am going to spend time with my family. And I think I agree. It's like the best thing you can do. Even if because of COVID pandemic, do a video call, do something, put your differences aside. As my mom would say, quit your bitching and just spend time with your family. There you go. Pretty simple.
Well, and you got 364 days of the year to bitch at them. So why not take it? Just give yourself one day off, huh?
Exactly.
All right.
Exactly.
All right. So what's our next question?
So what do you think are the truly important things you should look for in Christmas?
Well, I think the most important things is to think about, all of the things that have happened to you over the last year and try to find the good things. I mean, it's easy to find the bad. It's easy to go out there and find things that didn't work out and be upset and not really, you know, do all of those things. But you should really find those things that are important to you, and understand that you want to capture those, because as I tick along in age, I start to realize that we may have more in the rear view mirror than the windshield. And you better start making sure that you make this one the best one, because maybe this is the last one. I don't know. I mean, not trying to get modeling or anything, but you should really try to spend that and think of the things you can do. And I think that also an active kindness to somebody, or help somebody out in a way that you would not normally do. I can tell you, from having dealt with the trenches of a Costco parking lot in the last couple of days. The place is packed. People are going batshit crazy. Is that I actually, made sure that I let a guy in. Wow, what a concept! And then of course he let somebody else in. So it goes with the territory. So do something and find something that you can do as a little act of kindness, and I think it will help in what you're going to do. So what's your plans of what you would think are truly important?
Like you stated earlier, if you're religious, the reason for the season. So that and time with family, that's very important. I think definitely being grateful for what you have, like look back, there's so much to be grateful for. Even if you don't have a lot, do you have a roof over your head? Do you have food? Do you have people that care about you? That's being grateful. I mean, it just sets you up to feel so much better all year round. So be grateful all the time, but it's a good time to reflect on that for sure. And then giving back if you can, if you know people that don't have, roof over their head or food or things like that, like give back for sure. That's definitely important this time of year for sure. 100%. It's not what's maybe under the tree, it's who's around it and how you're spending your time for sure.
Okay. I mean, I like that. I like that. And I would say that one of the things that I always find fascinating is that there's a hard edge, especially now when we think that somebody else is going to do it, for this whole generosity side of life. And my suggestion is that, again, randomly, or maybe it should be intentional, but help somebody out when you can help them out, and do something that is unexpected. And I believe that you'll get a lot back for doing just that, because again, it's that act of kindness that is something that and it will get passed on. I have truly believe that, and we need more of that, especially as crazy as we are today. Well, let's lighten it up a little bit. Sandra, what do we have next?
All right. So what are your top three movie recommendations for the Christmas season?
So I always have my go-to movie. I watch it every year. There's controversy about this, but I will be watching Die Hard. I will be wearing my Nakatomi Tower Christmas party t-shirt, and I will be watching Die Hard. Of course, some people say that this is not a Christmas movie. Bah humbug. They're just jealous that we have something so masterful around Christmas. I mean, what's better than, terrorists and, Bruce Willis, doing good stuff to bad people. I mean, what's better than that? Exploding buildings. So that's my go-to movie. The second one is, and I thought about it, and I may have even changed back and forth, because as Sandra and I were talking, but I do like the original Home Alone movie, because again, it shows that, resourcefulness, and it's a little bit, tongue in cheek, and all those things that happen, and what we find out about life. And then the final one that I would suggest everybody, if you haven't seen it, is the original cartoon version of the Grinch. And I like that because I saw it live. I guess as live as you're going to see it, but I saw it when it first came out. Still holds up, still well done. Great animation, great voiceover, and it's a great story. So, I mean, I think those are my top three recommendations. And if I threw in an honorable mention, it would be White Christmas, because I mean, what's better than that? Of course, living where I do, to see a white Christmas means one of two things. Either the global warming thing didn't really take place and we have a freak snowstorm, or somebody's got a little nose candy problem. But one of those two. But so all right. So what are your recommendations?
All right, so White Christmas is my number one. I absolutely love it. It's a good feel good movie, a
Do,
classic, as they say.
do you sing along with it? Because I know that you.
Yeah, I mean, when the mood hits, I guess.
Oh,
Not every time, but
okay.
sometimes I've watched it before, not at Christmas. I just like the movie. It's just a good movie. There you go.
Okay. All right. White
And then,
Christmas.
yeah, and then second and third, they kind of, I don't know, any of these are interchangeable for me, because third place is actually two that are tied. But I also have the Grinch, the original cartoon, none of this new age stuff, the original from 1966, I believe. And then a Muppet Christmas Carol and a Muppet Family Christmas. And that was a TV special from 1987. And those are great. I mean, it's a Muppet movie. Those are awesome.
Well, okay, and so there you go. You've got things to watch, and you can go from there. And by the way, in today's day and age, what I find is when people stream something, they don't actually watch it. So my suggestion is that you put down your phone or your tablet or your laptop or the 92 other things that you can use to distract yourself and actually watch the movie and watch the show and enjoy it. And also introduce it to somebody else is like a really cool idea, because I think that's a good way to kind of pass on traditions and get people involved, get generations involved in the culture, if you will.
And I will say the only copy of that Muppet Family Christmas that we had was a VHS when my parents recorded it on TV. So that's how I watched it. It does still exist. And so we're probably going to put it on for all the little nieces and nephews when they're at my parents up at the farm. So I mean, there you go, a classic.
and I bet you still have the commercials from 1987 right in there.
They are. There's Oshkosh Bagosh is in there. There's like all these little toys. It's definitely a blast from the past. For sure.
It's a time machine. It's the Sandra time machine in Nebraska.
That's right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
All right. So what is our next question? What else do we have here? What do we got?
All right. So speaking of family, growing up, were there any family traditions that you had?
Well, yeah, we had a big tradition, which was on Christmas Eve. And what we did is, of course, we did a very traditional Polish celebration on Christmas Eve. And what you would do is you would actually have the big meal was not on Christmas Day, but was on Christmas Eve. Now, didn't stop us from having a big meal on Christmas Day, but this was the big deal. And what would happen is that you would go to the Polish Catholic Church and you would get the little wafers because, of course, communion. And what you would do is we would then all sit around and wait. And you talk about impatience, and we sit around and wait, strumming our fingers, because we couldn't start anything until the first star in the sky appeared. And once that happened, then, break it out and away you go. Now at the head of the table, one head of the table, of course, was my father, but the other head of the table was an empty chair and a plate and a shot of some of the most powerful and potent Polish double distilled vodka. And whoever knocked on the door unsuspectingly, knock, 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 would come in, and they would have to, by tradition, sit down, have the shot, and then have a meal. So that, there was some who wandered aimlessly into this web, and it was quite funny. So I'll share the most amazing one of these is this guy showed up, Fred, and he was delivering Christmas presents. And of course he was making the rounds, because his wife had, packed everything up, and they were going to all their different friends' houses and dropping off presents on Christmas Eve. And he knocks on the door, and my father, of course, has him sit down, and he says, listen, here's how the tradition works. And he explains it to him. and the guy takes the shot. And again, I was, I don't know, young. And as soon as I saw that, I just saw, kind of the life force change in him because of this. And and then of course he starts eating, and he starts drinking some more, and he starts drinking some more, and this happens and that happens. And it's about an hour and a half later, and even though this guy knows none of the songs that we would sing, Polish songs and German songs, I mean, he was singing right along, because I mean, that alcohol just flooded in there. And his wife called and asked, like, where in the world he was. And of course, my mother had to explain that he was, of course, I think the technical expression is 3 sheets to the wind. And she was beyond pissed. In fact, he was so drunk that they wouldn't let him drive home. And she had to drive over and pick him up. I always felt so bad for him because he was so happy, but there it was. It was almost like his mom showing up. Yikes. And but that was our tradition. And you would do that every year. It was a pretty cool tradition. I mean, and you do the communion, and and everybody would hug and kiss and do all that stuff. So that was a pretty cool tradition. So how about yourself?
Very cool. Yeah, so we would have Christmas Eve service. So the family would go to church that evening, and then and this was out at the farm. So like everyone would come out, aunts, uncles, grandma, grandpa. And then we would do a big meal and just kind of hang out as family. If I remember correctly, we would do like open gifts from grandma and grandpa so they could like see you open it. And then when extended family left, then we would do our own individual opening of presents. So that was awesome. Stayed up super late. And when you're a kid, it's like way past bedtime. So it's really cool, And then go to bed, go to church the next morning, and then there you go. So
we got to open up exactly one present at 12:01. So what you would do is you look at them, and I got really good at shaking them and trying to figure out which one was which. But you got to open one present. That was it.
Oh.
Done. And by the way, that was considered the kind of the reform period, because prior to that, prior to me showing up, because I was the youngest, it was no presents until the next day. But now we were kind of getting a little liberalization going on. So
there you go.
Yeah. Well, it sounds like fun. So
yeah,
and
it's very good.
Yeah. All right.
I think the funniest, sorry.
No,
I was just going to say the funniest time maybe was when my cousin was driving out, and there were 2 houses, our farmhouse and the one closer to it, that looked pretty much identical, because the guy that actually built the house, the neighboring house, for his brother. And so my cousin actually drove to the wrong house and just walked right in and scared a ton of children, thinking that he was an intruder on Christmas Eve. So we're like, where is Ben? Why is he so late? And it's like, oh, it's just a little B&E before Christmas,
picking up some extra presents, kids. Yeah.
Exactly. Whoops.
All right. Who knew that this was in that a criminal element that exists in our midst?
Exactly. Speaking of B&E, in a pinch, what are your go-to gift suggestions?
Well, I always tell people, listen, if you're ever in really serious trouble, is you swing by the 7-Eleven or the convenience store, and you buy a lottery scratcher, a Slim Jim, and a pack of cigarettes. And people say, John, you can't tell people to do that. I said, well, listen, I mean, here's the rationale. I mean, the lottery ticket is they have a potential of actually getting real money. The Slim Jim is, they're going to get their daily quota of sodium and, high fat and all of that stuff. And the cigarettes are, hey, you're never too young or old to start a bad habit, but for some reason people don't think that's such a great idea. So I mean, I guess we could modify it, but I always jokingly say that to people because people ask me all the time, what do you think I should get somebody? It's like, well, here's something for everybody. But on a more serious note, so what are your suggestions for in a pinch? What should somebody get somebody? Because you have a great fashion sense. So
Oh,
save us from and by the way, now that the tobacco companies have gotten like the crap beaten out of them, they don't have any more of the. They used to actually have Christmas packaging on their packs of cigarettes. They'd have wreaths and pictures of Santa and all that stuff. Nothing because little true story. And my grandfather smoked all the way to the very end, and he actually we used to buy him a carton of Chesterfields in the Christmas wrapping. And what it was a picture of Santa sitting in the sleigh, leaning back while the reindeer were pulling the sleigh into the sky, and he was holding a Chesterfield. And it always like burned into my head. And then later on, of course, when I had more evil thoughts, I was thinking, I mean, he's kicking back after, maybe having some kind of little tryst or some kind of encounter as he's kicking back, having a smoke and, on Dancer and Blitzer and all of that. But yeah, anyway, so what were, but they don't do that
Vixen.
anymore.
Sorry.
Vixen. Yeah, exactly. So what is your in a pinch? What do you tell people to go out and do?
If you can do anything like homemade or maybe like print a photo and frame it, that would be really nice. I know a gift card is a gift card, but maybe include like a personal handwritten note. Like who writes a personal letter anymore? Like anything you can do handmade or personal like that, like a personal touch. That's always a good go-to. But for you, seriously though, really, what should you get somebody?
Well, of course, we here want to help all of you get the best that you can possibly get. So guess what? My suggestion is that, well, you buy somebody the reading material that they really should have. And what you get them is, of course, you can get the book. Most businesses fail in the first 5 minutes. And see, this is going to mean that they're going to have a better Christmas next year and every year after that. It's available in soft copy, so physical book. It's available at Barnes & Noble, Amazon, Books A Million, and other places that books are sold. Also, you can get it on every electronic platform, Kindle, Nook, and Apple iBooks. And then the other side is you can actually get Remote Work for a Better World, and that, of course, is only available exclusively on the Kindle store at Amazon. And either of those gifts, I think, would be very appropriate for somebody who wants to, of course, improve things. And of course, you can go to positiontowinbook.com, check it out, go in there and say, John, this is what I want to put in that. And it makes a great gift. So I think that's a great gift. And no, I don't have any other paraphernalia to sell you other than that. But there you go.
Yet, right? No.
Yet. Yeah, exactly. Merch is a coming, right?
There you go. And if it's a digital download that you get for someone, it will arrive by Christmas. So come on, people, get it together.
There you go. I mean, well,
exactly.
and you can gather the kids around and read them stories about business and what my life was. It's great. It's great.
There
great,
you go.
Fun thing for the whole family. Yes.
That's right.
Yes. Yeah, honey, I was going to buy you some jewelry, but I bought you this book from this guy. Yeah.
Correct. It'll go over great.
by the way, I will tell you something that you shouldn't buy for Christmas, which I did one year, and but I'm still married, so I mean, I weathered this storm. Is I bought my wife a vacuum cleaner. Not a good idea. I'm just telling you that right now. Maybe I'm a traditionalist, but I thought, hey, she doesn't have to take the rugs out and beat them with a broom or something. But she just didn't take it the right way. So I'm just sharing. And again, I'm open to any kind of relationship you may have, but I'm just saying, if somebody believes you're going to give them something heartfelt, a vacuum cleaner, well, pun intended, sucks. Okay.
All right. So, what's your favorite thing about Christmas or just generally this time of year?
Well, I think what it is that we get so busy on a day-to-day basis. We have so many things going on, especially in today's world, and because of all of the virus stuff happening, that we kind of lose sight of what's important in life. And hopefully, what the best time of of the year of this time of year is to actually take stock about what's going on and really think through and think about how life is really as good as it's going to be right now. And I know if you're out there and you're having struggles and troubles and all of that, I've been there, done that. And what I can share with you is that, it is a good time to think about trying to, stay positive, stay as cheery as you possibly can. And more importantly, to know that there's more than just you. There's a great saying that uh, and I believe it was Emerson who said it, that what you want to do is you want to stand up and you want to close your eyes and imagine that there's a circle around you, and that's your world. And then imagine a larger circle, and then that's your world. Well, there's always a larger circle. There's always more that you can affect and touch, and make sure that you constantly try to figure out how to make your world bigger and touch more people and do more with the life that you have, because we're all in this together. We can all use some kind words and some help and some of those types of things. Give is a very positive thing to do. Gratitude is an important thing to do. And most importantly, is to make sure that you do that for all the right reasons, which is you don't expect, a return. This isn't like, investing in something. What you do is you expect to help somebody out and make their load a little bit lighter and their road a little bit easier. Sandra, how about yourself?
I would say what I really like is all the charitable giving, kindness being shown, celebration. It's just it's a time to be happy and grateful, like you said, and just time spent with family. It's just so important. But definitely the acts of kindness and going out of your way to be charitable is just, it's so important. I don't know, I can't stress that enough.
So well, let's wrap it up and with this way. So what do you think your Christmas message is for this year? We'll have you kick it off, and then I'll wrap it up, and then we'll be done.
I would say, kind of going back to the question prior, is show kindness. There's a ton of division and hatred, especially in the last like 2 years. And it's just important. Be kind, be charitable. And not only that, but there's also been a lot of loss for people, like with pandemic and just loss in general. They say like this time of year can be really hard and like depressing for people. So even if it's just picking up the phone and checking on, your neighbor, your friends, your family, kind word, do it, just do it. Takes a couple minutes to just go out of your way and be nice. And you shouldn't have to go out of your way to be nice anyway. So be nice all the time. There.
Well, I think those are excellent points. My message for this year for Christmas is, in spite of all the differences that we may have, and we all have our own opinions about the way things are taking place and what's going on. If in fact you understand that every single day is a precious day, and Christmas Day is no different than that, but you can make it even more unique and more special. Make sure that you reach out. We have more ways to communicate than ever before, but in some ways we don't take the time, the trouble, or the effort to do that. So whether you're sending somebody a text, an email, whether you're sticking a stamp and mailing a card, whether you're taking a picture of something that you find that inspires you, share it, and share it with as many people as you can. The great Earl Nightingale said that you become what you think about. And I think as we close out this year, we need to focus on those words, because Earl was absolutely right. We become what we think about. If we think about the division, we think about the troubles, we think about how things aren't going exactly right, what we'll do is we'll get steeped in that, and that's what we'll become. So what I hope that you do is you become what you think about, And I hope what you think about is to think about how much there is in the abundance of this world and the time that we have. Do that, and I think what you'll end up with is a life that is significantly better every single day, because it's all up to you and no one else. And with that, Sandra, are you ready? How about Merry Christmas?
Yes, Merry Christmas.
So Merry Christmas, everybody. And it's a wrap. Make sure that you subscribe. Make sure you give us a thumbs up, and then come back again, and we'll be doing it some more. So thanks, everybody. Have a great, happy, safe Christmas 2021.